Hey y'all, Muddy Paws Disc Golf here. I wanted to give a couple notes before we got into this week's video. Sorry about the late upload this week. I was actually out of town, so I was unable to edit. I had no service, so I couldn't upload, even if I did get the video edited. I really do apologize about the wait. I'll try to make sure it doesn't happen again. This week we played Patapsco Disc Golf Course in Elk Ridge. It's an 18-hole course. We played the red to short option because it was the most commonly played on U-Disc. Hole 1 is a pretty wooded first quarter and then an open second half. I clipped the first tree, and there's the first rage of the day. Matt tosses up into the trees, but somehow finds a line through. And Dad has an okay shot.
Float, float, float. Nice layup.
Sit down.
Bars all around here. Hole 2 is a straight but short tunnel shot with a slight left fade at the end. Matt laces a shot up the center. He'll be putting for a birdie.
Good skip.
And then me and Dad throw off into the woods like we've never played this game before. Yeah, not a great start for us. A little spoiler alert, this was a very disappointing round for both of us. We both felt like we could have played way better. But that kind of added to the hilarity of a lot of the freakouts that we had. Matt gets a birdie, and me and Dad end up with pars.
Wow.
Hole 3 is just a pretty open downhill shot with a Mando. A couple trees you gotta watch out for, but nothing
Makes the
major.
Mando.
Matt laces one up the gap. I cut a little more towards the center instead of that right side, but I end up pretty close to Matt. And Dad cuts the inside a little too hard and ends up in the trees. I sink for birdie, and Matt and Dad both end up with pars. Hole 4 is a straight shot with some trees right into a hard left hook. Rode and passed his OB. Hit the first tree on that line. Matt ends up going straight and coming just short of the road, basically right where you want to be. Probably the best shot you can get on here. And Dad tosses one up high that ends up near Matt. Matt sinks a beauty here for birdie, and me and Dad are able to just tap in for pars. Hole 5 is just a super woodsy shot with a left hook at the end. Road is OB, and there's a Mando off to the left as well. I throw a pretty good shot here, a little high for what I would have wanted.
Nice shot.
Matt takes a four-hander out here and actually ends up getting a really nice shot in. Dad hits the first tree. He gets no luck.
Roll into the street. Didn't though.
Matt biffs the putt, so he'll get a bogey here. Dad also gets a bogey.
All over but the crowd.
6 sees you going over the road and then a blind shot over a small hill down to the pin. I tried to go putter here. I threw it way too soft and clipped the top of the hill. Just a dumb shot on my part. Matt throws a forehand into the ground. Dad lofts it way up. Not sure what he was going for there, or if that was just a slip up on his part.
Nice layup, nice layup.
Toss down, but it goes a little far. Matt taps for a par. And get ready, folks, we're coming up on the second rage of the day. And there goes my disc. Hole 7 is kind of a chuck it down the hill with some trees to add some complexity down at the bottom. Dad threw a new disc there that he didn't know what it was going to do, and it fell off the hill. I throw probably my best S-turn in a while.
It's exactly where you want to be.
What am I doing? That's great.
Matt has a little mini freak out there.
Woo!
I think a long one for
Big
a
one.
birdie here. Matt will
No
miss for
such
par.
luck.
And
The
Dad will
drive.
sink for par. And Matt
Bye-bye.
sinks for bogey.
You're fine.
Hole 8
I didn't wanna
is
be in
a
the video
really
scene.
tight tunnel, but it's pretty much just dead straight, and don't let it fade off that hill like mine did
Oh!
until it hit a tree. Kind of saved me. Matt laces one up
Beauty.
the center.
Oh
Pretty
my
beautiful.
God. The boy's back.
Dad will lofts one just a little bit, but he gets a really bad kick. He's able to sit it down though. Mine goes way shorter than what I wanted.
That one.
I can't pull for par.
Ah.
Matt can't pull for birdie. So it's a bogey for me. Matt pulls a par. Dad also pulls a par. Hole 9, you throw it down and across the road. The road is OB, everything else is fair game. I actually didn't land on the road here. I clipped the tree and bounced back across, avoiding the OB penalty, but still a pretty horrible shot. Dad ends up on the same side of the road with me, but he has a much better angle. Put a little too much on mine and end up going long.
Oh. Oof.
Matt and Dad both manage pars, and I get a bogey.
It's stressful.
Hole 10 has a valley with some very low trees that make the shot a lot more interesting. This shot is actually almost impossible from the long tee.
Oh,
They really need to do some trimming on the trees.
Goodness.
Dad throws a pretty good shot there that ends up pretty close. We thought Matt was OB, but after checking course rules, the fence was not OB, the road was, so he was in bounds. Dad sinks a long one for a birdie. Hole 11 has a nice, just mowed out fairway. Just throw it down there.
Whoa.
Dad opts for the really high line, hoping for the fade back in. The wind caught it a tiny bit though and brought it back. I decided to go low and try to use that wind to my advantage, but it did end up pushing me out to the left a little. And Matt just got it perfect. He throws it right
Clean.
over the edge,
Solid.
That's clean. Get there.
lands
Get
it
there.
right next to the cup, barely missing it. Dad goes a little long on the putt. I can't pull it from the jump. And Matt sinks in for his birdie.
Alright, it's right past that sticking out tree you said?
Yep.
12's an interesting one. It's a straight shot with a hard left, and then a death putt, basically, unless you're right on top of it. Matt throws up, gets to the mouth of the opening. Dad puts a real aggressive curve on it, but gets up there.
Oh.
I cut the inside edge way too much with a West Side King, a disc I probably shouldn't be throwing in that situation.
That'll be okay if it stayed up.
Oh, Maddie's got a bad one.
Dad sinks up for his birdie. I save par. 13 is shorter but very woodsy. The pin is in the woods there. You can try and go around it like Dad did here with a little forehand roller maneuver. Did not work at all. Matt just tries to go with the forehand skip line. Skip gets knocked down. And I
Good
pretty much
shot.
just throw it straight through the
Oh.
trees, but get a weird knock.
Wow.
Get it!
Matt sinks another long putt. I don't know what was going on, but he was hitting these throw shots from like 100 out. Dad's blood is starting to boil here. 14 is an uphill shot. It's not super long, but it is kind of just throw it as hard as you can and see how far you get. Matt gets a beauty up there again. This is one of the best nines I had ever seen him
That's
play.
good.
I throw a pretty awful shot for the situation and end up off to the left. Dad throws a pretty good shot, drops him right in the middle.
Didn't get the turn it needed.
Can't sink the putt. Neither can Dad. Matt goes, gets another birdie. "15 kind of circles back and goes back down the hill that you just came up. And it does have a death putt if you're at it from the wrong side. Matt goes mid-range forehand here. Somehow finds a line through. I go mid-range backhand. And shouldn't have done that. Fades out. Dad puts it on a nice line, basically what I was trying to do. Gets a tree clip, but it wasn't too bad. Matt cages for another birdie. Can't make it hit though. So
Oh,
we'll
man.
all end up with pars. 16 is back up the hill you just came down again. And this is the hole where the greatest disc golf freakout happens.
Oh, how do you hit that
So
little?
pretty average. You can't really see it because of the brightness, but we all get up there, and then Dad gets a horrible tree clip. Then, to add insult to injury, he throws and does not get any skip that he was going for. We all just hit our putts. Dad cages it from super far, and here's the moment. Oh, the bag throw. Now let's get an instant replay on this. So basically here, we have a toss with some great height. You see 2 water bottles come out, and around 18 discs. So just off pure stats, this is one of the greatest freakouts I've ever seen. Sinks the putt after that. 17, you have a double tunnel option with a hard slope to the left that you really don't want to go down. Matt gets saved by a tree there. I don't get so lucky. I get knocked most of the way down, making my approach a lot harder. Dad tries to ante to kind of cut both lines and just gets knocked down early. Not having a great time. Matt throws a nice forehand
Good
to
up.
get closer to the cup. Chuck it up the hill and actually have an okay shot.
Good shot.
Dad goes long. Matt can't sink the putt to save par. I end up getting par here. Matt bogeys. and Dad hits his shot for a bogey. 18 to finish it off. You've just got a tight fairway that is mowed out. As long as you can make it past these bushes on the left, you're okay. But I really stretched that because I wasn't sure if I made it over there, but I did. Put me about 40 feet out. Matt threw it a little low here. Dad lays it over, and he ends up getting that turn back, so that's a good shot. Matt forehands here, but doesn't get the curve he wanted. Ends up in the bushes. I just lay up. Matt runs it for the par, can't get it. Is not feeling it. I sink for par, and Dad finishes off on a strong note. So, final thoughts on this course. It has a ton of potential. But when we were there, it had been days since rain, and somehow the tee pads were still muddy, and the ones that weren't had giant holes in them, and it messes with your round. The layout is pretty fun, but there's no signage. You can't really tell if you weren't a local. Luckily, we live pretty close to this course, so we've played it a lot of times, but for someone who wasn't from the area, it could be very confusing. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, we'd appreciate a like, and we'd also appreciate a subscribe. The community that we've built just in the last couple weeks is really cool, even though it is a small one at the moment. But if you'd like to see the community grow, we'd really appreciate some support. Thanks so much. This has been Muddy Paws Disc Golf.